What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. If you know me, you know my name is Marissa. If you don't know me, welcome. My name is Marissa. I do videos on mental health, spirituality, donkeys, and fitness. Just an all-around type of girl. And today, I want to talk about one of my most favorite topics. But before we get into this, can we just take a moment to look at this view? See how green this is? So beautiful. It's actually raining right now, so I need to find an area where I'm not going to be soaking wet. So now that I am somewhat under a tree, so I'm protected. I feel like this is still going to be way too... There we go. What I want to talk about today with you guys would be self-reflection. I know on my website I had a mirror on my tips of this week's tips. I had a mirror and I talked a little bit about self-reflection and self-reflecting. But in this video today, I want to go a little bit deeper on it because self-reflection and self-reflecting is probably one of the best things you can truly do for yourself, because it A, relieves you from a lot of pain and guilt and shame that you've been holding on to, and B, it also makes you have a different perspective of life after, because you realize that everything... So I feel like there's a difference between bad things happening to you and then fate happening. Bad things meaning where you kind of could have you should put your foot in your mouth, or not saying certain things, or not doing certain things out of revenge. But not like fate, where like bad things just like naturally happen. Not that kind of bad things, but more so bad things when it comes to you emotionally and mentally that you can get yourself out of if you have different tools and a tool set working with you. So self-reflection has to be one of the hardest but best topics to get into when it comes to your growth, because with self-reflection you do realize that everything is a mirror. Every relationship you have, every person you've attracted into your life is just a mirror of yourself. And if you don't like what is in your life or what's going on in your life, that's when you have to self-reflect with what's going on inside of you and as to why you're attracting these certain types of people. How I came to self-reflecting is, it took me a lot of time and energy to figure out self-reflecting. And to this day, it still is difficult, because you never want to be accountable for the terrible things that are going on in your life, or the arguments, or whatever else is hindering your life at this very moment. You don't want to take responsibility from it. It's so much easier to blame other people, and it forever will be, because for some reason our ego likes to make it to where we are untouchable, and it's never our fault, and we aren't to blame, blah, 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 which is complete BS half the time. Majority of the time, you can just look at yourself for the things that are going on and be like, yeah, it's all me. So how I got to self-reflecting and how I do it on a normal day basis, it took a lot. It took a lot, because I'm a very stubborn person, I'm a very hard-headed person, and the last thing I want to do is be like, oh yeah, Marissa, you did all this to yourself. I would love to blame other people, but that's living in a false reality, and that's living in a place where you're super self-absorbed. And oh my god, there's so many freaking birds flying right now. I feel like that means a natural disaster is gonna happen. If there is, I predicted it right here at this moment. Anyway, so it ultimately was the 5-MeO DMT experience that really obviously took this up a notch when it came to self-reflection. And it took me years and years and years to know this. I was in a relationship that was not very healthy, and he had this life coach that he would call every time there was a meltdown happening, I guess you could say. And I started confiding in this life coach because I realized like how much this life coach truly helped him get out of his own way. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, always blaming that person for what was going on, rather than like also looking at myself and why I attracted this type of person in my life and why these events were happening and what fell on my part, rather than constantly blaming him. And I remember I poured my heart out to this man, like just poured my heart out. And he just had the most simple, short response. And he was just like, and what's your part? Work on yourself. Find yourself. And I just was like, you know, I expected someone to be like, that's not right. Like, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't know what I expected. I expected something completely different. That's the starting point, I guess you could say, because it made me question myself a lot. I was like, wait a second, what does he mean by that? And like, what does he mean, like, that like I'm to blame for this too? Like, how is that possible? And that was my old 20-year-old mind that like could never think I did anything wrong. And I was really disappointed by the answer. I really didn't get the answer. And then I started seeing my life coach, and my life coach did the same thing. She just kind of been like, okay, but like, why are you attracting this into your life? Like, what is on your part? What are you doing? And I still didn't have an answer because I didn't want to ever blame myself. And it wasn't until I started reading books that I could be honest to myself, because saying it out loud, I never wanted to admit like that I did seek drama, I did seek these things, and I would stir the pot, and I would ultimately, at the end of the day, if I was feeling bad, want other people to feel bad just as much as I felt bad. And I kind of would do the same thing. And it wasn't until I started reading books where I really had to be like, okay, wait a second. Because the craziest thing about reading and like you inside your own head, like you can't escape like yourself, obviously. So I had to like read these books and literally self-reflect on what I was doing. And then that's when I really took the time to be like, okay, I need to take self-reflection and self-reflecting super serious. And the moment I started doing that more serious is when I started watching my life change perspective. And it wasn't poor me anymore or why me. It was like, okay, it's all me. And I don't know if that's just part of maturing and being now more mature, or if it truly is all the books and self-reflection and homework I've put into this. But it also is very relieving because less and less drama, less and less things happen, because I was able to put myself in perspective and check myself and make sure that what was going on the inside was healthy so that my outside mirrored healthiness. I don't know if that makes sense to some of you guys, but basically like what's going on inside of you, like this universe, your reality is going to be your mirror of everything that is going on inside of you. So if you don't like what's in your outside world, you have to start changing what's on the inside. And that's obviously why I got more into mental health over fitness over this past year. And that's ultimately like what made me get more into mental health this past year over fitness, because I just got really tired of my outside life not being what I wanted it to be, and the only person I realized that I had to blame was myself ultimately. And the very first step into self-reflection is just being abnormally true to yourself. Like, you deep down know, like, the crap you do. You deep down know, like, the things that you always know the answers. And that's the craziest thing. My grandma told my mom before she died that my grandma has read, like, every book to mankind. And she said that all the answers are already inside of you. And that's how I ultimately feel every time I read a book. It's not like you're hearing it for the first time. It's like you've heard it before and you're just being confirmed that it is true in a sense. And that's the craziest part. It's like you already know what you do. You already know what causes it, and now you just need to be true to yourself and really like sit yourself down, write out the things that you know you've done that have caused misfortune in your life or drama or whatever, and just truly be like, okay, like, this is me, this is all me, and start making baby steps as to being a better version of yourself and catching yourself before you slip, and just not getting into that kind of stuff. And literally, my life, like I've said 1,000 times, is completely different than what it used to be, and self-reflection is definitely one of the biggest steps and main steps to living a truer, healthier life, especially with the relationship you have with yourself, because we lie to ourselves all the time. We don't hold ourselves accountable for the things we say we're going to do for ourselves. And if you really think about it, you do more for other people than you do for yourself, or at least I do. And I will keep my promise for someone else more so than I'll keep a promise to myself. And we do that all the time. And of course, our ego starts to lie to ourselves and be like, no, it's other people. You didn't do anything wrong, blah, blah, blah. But in actuality, like, you really need to become a third party to your own situation and attach to your ego and be like, okay, what could I have done better? And before situations happen that could be ugly or could be potentially harming to relationships in someone. Oh God, my camera is starting to get wet. Someone close to you in your life. Self-reflect first and be like, okay, what am I doing right now that could be antagonizing this person, that could be triggering this person, that could be harming this person, and make sure that you're always reflecting back on yourself rather than trying to point the finger. My mom has always said to me, when someone's pointing a finger at you, it normally means two more fingers are pointing back at them. And when you're pointing your finger, or at least when I point my finger now, I realize, wait a second, that must mean there's two more fingers pointing back at me, and I'm obviously defending something. So that's just my quick little snippet of self-reflection today. It's starting to really come down and rain, and there's a roadrunner. Oh my gosh. We have this little roadrunner that lives on our ranch now, and every day I see him, and he just crosses by, and it's just, there's not a day. So there's hawks and now roadrunners that I see all the time. It's kind of cute. But anyway, that's just my quick little snippet on today's little topic. I didn't want to talk your guys' ear off too much, but honestly, self-reflect. Do some self-reflecting. Be real with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. And watch these little problems disappear, and watch your life become healthier, because it all has to start with the inside. Once the inside is healed and golden, the outside just all falls into place, and it all makes sense, and it all, is a little more beautiful. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day or a wonderful night. I'm still obviously a little sick. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope to see you guys very, very soon. And in the comment section, please leave a little tip or trick that you do for self-reflection, or how you are able to, not blame other people, I guess you could say. I would love to hear your input. And again, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you all very, very soon.